Hello, everyone. My name is Ana Martha Ayala, and I'd like to welcome you to my YouTube channel. As a reminder, I do every video in English and Spanish, and the degree theory is based on modern Western astrology using the plusless house system. In today's video, I wanted to discuss the new moon in Taurus happening on May 16th at 25 degrees and 57 minutes, which is going to conjunct a fixed star called Algol. Also, let me bring up the chart because this new moon is going to conjunct. Let me show you the chart, and you guys know by now that I go to astro-seek.com. I pulled down this calendar here, the moon calendar, and here's where you have the full moons, new moons, solar eclipses, etc., right? You go down here, May 16th, you click on the chart, and you get this, okay? So this new moon, and you know that it's a new moon because the moon and the sun are conjunct at 25 degrees, 57 minutes, and Algol is sitting at 26 degrees, 10 minutes. So this new moon, we have a trine from Pluto to Uranus. We have Pluto sextiling Neptune and Neptune sextiling Uranus in Gemini. And then you have the sun and the moon sextiling Jupiter, which is exalted in Cancer, right? So Jupiter is the only saving grace here, but we do have Neptune squaring Venus, and those are the aspects that this moon has, right? So now you guys understand what is going on in the sky. So if this new moon, because I usually don't do new moon and full moon videos, okay? But this one is a bit different because if you have planets near plus or one, plus or minus 1 degree, according to ancient Babylonian astrology, it has to be either the exact conjunction or within 1 degree, okay? Then if you have planets conjuncting this new moon, which is going to conjunct Algol, I will discuss it later on because this video is not going to be ascendant by ascendant because everybody has Algol somewhere in their chart, right? Because it's 26 degrees of Taurus. So, but for you guys to feel it, it has to be right there. It has to be very, very close to whatever planet you have. So when are we going to start to feel this new moon? 2 or 3 days before May 16th, and I'm recording this May 13th, so it starts now, to about 2 weeks after the new moon. So let's say till the end of May. Um, the main news is going to come in then, right? But with new moons, they can last up to 6 months. Now, I have this website, which is astrologyking.com. And the astrologer here, which I don't know their name, but it goes into very specific, it quotes the magnitude and the light and the color and, everything else. And down here, it has all kinds of like the astrology, if you guys want to find out a little bit more about it, right? I did take some of the information from the website, which I'm going to discuss, but also I found this really cool thing where every degree that is conjunct a fixed star is listed. So let's say Taurus at 7 degree, your fixed star is Hamal. And you go down here, Gemini, 9 degrees, 48 minutes, Aldebaran, which is one of the royal stars. So, you guys you click and then I guess you get information on, let me see. You go here and yep, and then it tells you all about, so you can read up on your own chart. Okay. Now, this new moon, um, conjunct Algol is like the main headline, right? Because the Arabic name is Algol, and it means the demon's head. For Ptolemy, it was the Gorgon's head. Algol is one, and what I'm reading to you is based on that website that I found, right? Algol is one of the oldest Arabic star names applied in the West, meaning demon, evil spirit, or devil, derived from the same root as alcohol. Arabic commanders-in-chief in times of conquest made it a point that no important battles were begun when the light of Algol was weak. Because Algol is really, this part I know not is what I'm about to say now is not listed on the website, but Algol is composed of two stars, a big one and a little one. And then the little one eclipses the big star for a few hours every 2 or 3 days. So when that is happening, it means that your Algol is not, it brings more harm than good. Again, if you have planets conjunct that fixed star, if it's just a point in your chart, then, there's nothing to worry about. Okay. Now, astrologers, of course, have said that it is the most unfortunate, violent, and dangerous star in the heavens. Ptolemy, which is like one of the like fathers of astrology, right? Said it was like it had energy like Jupiter and Saturn. And then there's some anonymous astrologers that say that it has the Jupiter Mars energy. And for Jupiter Mars, it has high ambition, pride, the love of power, grandeur of view. If rising, like when you were born, if the star was rising, military honors, if culminating, martial preferment, prosperity in business. Now, of the nature of Saturn and Jupiter, it causes misfortune, violence, decapitation, hanging, electrocution, mob violence, and gives a violent nature that causes death to the native or others. It is the most evil star in the heavens. Okay. That's all from the website. And then there's this other part, which I found very interesting. It says magical. Algol is one of the 15 Bohemian fixed stars. Its image is a human head cut off at the neck. Taurus, right? Taurus rules the neck. It gives success to petition, makes the wearer bold and magnanimous, preserves the body, protects against witchcraft, and turns evil and spells back upon those who work them. It rules diamond, black hellebore, and mugwort. Primitive natives will be of the base mind with an inclination to brutality and violence, especially when Algol is found together with Mars or Saturn. According to Asboga, it is very difficult to avoid accidents and severe injuries if Algol is in conjunction to the sun, the moon, or the malefics, which are Saturn and Mars. So you can go to the astrologyking.com website, and like I said, you can, go to the one which has all of the degrees and the corresponding fixed star, and read and enjoy, find out about yourself even more, right? So now, some important things to mention. Important people that have a major point in the chart, okay, in conjunction to our goal. President Trump, Vice President J.D. Vance. The country of Israel, their sun is conjunct Algol. And for the country of Iran, their moon is conjunct Algol. Now, in mundane astrology, the moon rules the people of the country. And and the sun rules the leadership of the country. Now, our goal is decapitation, death. In war, it is a lot of casualties, a lot of blood. There's a lot of bloodshed. So, um, as I am filming this, President Trump is on his way to China, right? So, whatever that meeting is agreed to, I don't think that it will last. Why? Because on May 25th, we have Mars squaring Pluto. Mars is going to be in Taurus, squaring Pluto in Aquarius at 5 degrees, which is the Leo degree, the degree of leadership. So maybe some leader may decide to take action, Mars, which is also war, squaring Pluto, which is total destruction. So for us, May 25th is Memorial Day here in the United States. I would not be hanging around crowds this Memorial Day or parades or anything like that. The energy is not the best to be, in multitudes, in groups. The other interesting thing, needless to say, I think that either Israel or Iran will start new attacks. Okay. I don't know which one, or maybe both, who knows? Because of that Mars square Pluto. And of course, the new moon is something that starts, right? Also, the New York Stock Exchange, the New York stock market, has its sun in proximity to Algol. So this new moon, you might be, if you are invested in the market, be very careful because there could be some kind of event that triggers, and I don't think it's going to be a rally. I think it's going to be a downfall. Okay. I think the market is going down. But one of the things that I wanted to discuss is President Trump's chart. And to me, in my opinion, he is in danger while he is in China or on the trip to China. I know I have done previous chart discussions with President Trump, but my concern this time is that I think his life is in danger when he's overseas in China. So let me pull up his chart, which is here. Okay. And we will start with the basics, right? His sun is in Gemini at 22 degrees. So this is the degree of Capricorn, but it's also a special degree, which is to kill or be killed, according to the degree theory. The ruler of his sun is Mercury, right? Because Mercury rules Gemini, and it is at 8 degrees, which is the degree of Scorpio, death, and usually death by war, but Scorpio rules death. So according to the degree theory, this is also not a good degree to have, right? He is a Leo rising at 29 degrees, which is the degree of Leo. So he's a double Leo. And better yet, his rising sign or ascendant is conjunct a fixed star called Regulus, which is another one of the 4 royal stars. And it is the star of kings. So, why are things so dangerous now? Okay. His 8th house starts in Pisces. And the 8th house describes, sorry, that is my dog. The 8th house describes how you will die. The ruler of the 8th house is Pisces, and the co-ruler is Mars. My concern is that the ruler of the 8th house, Neptune, is transiting the 8th house. So the 8th house is activated. Now, Mars just went through his 8th house. So thank God that he delayed his trip to China. Because if not, both rulers the ruler and the co-ruler would have been in his eighth house, right? So he was lucky to postpone his trip to China. Now, and again, I hope nothing happens. I hope that, everything is good and he just has a nice trip and meets with President Xi Jinping. But points of concern. The ruler of the eighth, Neptune, is in the eighth. Saturn is in Aries at 10 degrees, which is the degree of Capricorn, and it is squaring his Mercury. In Cancer at 8 degrees. Mars, transiting Mars, will be sextiling his sun, right? And at the same time, Mars is trining his natal Mars in the 12th house. So Mars is transiting his ninth house to be in a foreign country, and transiting Mars is trining Mars in the 12th house, which is to be in a very far away country. So for us that live here in the United States, ninth house is, let's say, Europe. 12th house would be Asia, would be Russia, would be Australia, New Zealand, like countries that are really, really far away from this, from where you live. And finally, this new moon is conjunct his MC, right? So, this is not the best energy for him. Now, his natal Neptune is in the second house. And second house is also what we eat, besides being the money that we get from the job that we do. So he can be poisoned during dinner because Neptune rules night, or poisoned with seafood. Now, Neptune is squaring Mercury. So while traveling, something can happen, right? He can be assassinated, Neptune. His Mercury squares Jupiter. His Mercury squares Jupiter, a foreign land. But Mercury is also in Cancer, so it could happen domestically as well. This is not just foreign stuff, but it can happen while traveling. Okay, so enough bad news because this video is not it's not a lucky cheery, good news video type of thing, right? But Algol does have a silver lining. It's also the star of mega wealth. It can bring riches to people that have it prominent in their chart. So what does having something prominent in your chart? Prominent means it's either in one of the angles of the chart, the first house, the fourth house, the seventh house, or the 10th house, right? So if you guys have Taurus, 26 degrees or 25, like I said, from 25 to 27 degrees at any of these points, then pay attention. But the good news, if you have either Venus or Jupiter in the fifth house or the eighth house, if that 26 degrees falls, 26 degrees of Taurus falls in your eighth house or your fifth house, and you have Venus or Jupiter there, then play a lottery ticket because you can actually win something. I'm not saying that you're going to be a mega millionaire, but what I'm saying is that you can, a couple of lottery tickets, and you can win something. Now, remember that in traditional astrology, there are only 7 visible planets. There are no outer planets. So Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto are not included in Hellenistic astrology, in sidereal astrology, because when you talk about the fixed stars, you talk about sidereal astrology because they use the constellations, which is actually where the planets are. There is a difference between modern Western astrology and traditional astrology or ancient astrology of 24 degrees, right? So, just FYI. Now, for those of you that have your, like I said, I wasn't going to do this video ascendant by ascendant because it makes no sense to do that. But if you have your sun conjunct Algol, it depends obviously on the house that it falls in, but it signifies men in your life. So it can be an indicator for husband in your chart. If if you have it in the 10th house, it can speak to a new career. It can speak to a new boss that you might be getting, right? Because you're getting a new job. So be mindful and ask questions about the company, ask questions about the new boss, ask questions so you get a feel for that person because this person might have a heavy hand or not be, might be somebody that's difficult to, to work for. Now, if your moon is conjunct Algol, then it speaks about your home, your mother specifically, your family. So there could be a new start, purchasing a new home. If so, make sure that if you're purchasing a new home, that you have it inspected, that you do all the proper procedures, right? To make sure that the house is livable, that it doesn't have any mold or anything, no gas leaks, nothing that could be detrimental to your health. If you have an elderly parent and this new moon, especially if you have it in the fourth house, if your moon is in the fourth house, because the fourth house is the house of endings. So this new moon can bring an end of life to your parent. If you have Mercury conjunct Algol, then a message can come in that you need to be cautious about because Uranus is is conjunct this new moon, right? So with Algol, maybe somebody's telling you that they're going to give you money, but it could also be not such great news. Now, if your Venus is conjunct Algol, if you are single and this new moon brings somebody in, be careful because this person may not be nice in the end, right? Everybody starts, with flowers, with dinners, romance, blah, blah, blah. But then they appear to be one way, but they're really not. As an example, Johnny Depp and Amber Heard have their Venuses conjunct Algol. So we all know how that ended, right? And Venus is not just love, it's also money, it's also business. So if there's a new business deal or a new partner in business, scrutinize this person. Ask them for, their credit report, do a background check, any bankruptcies that they might have had in the past, because Algol can make you very, very, very wealthy, or it can destroy you financially. So, you have both ends of the thing, right? So obviously, if this new partner that you're going into business has had bankruptcies, consult a lawyer, do your homework on this person. Now, if you have Mars conjunct Algol, be careful with accidents because they will be severe. And I don't mean to scare anybody, but you need to take precautions, right? Make sure to see how if it aspects Mercury, so while you're driving, while you're walking, while you're traveling, right? So be mindful. Arguments. The arguments can get heated and they can get violent. So now, if you have Jupiter conjunct Algol and you are single, it can bring a potential husband. Because for me, Jupiter is also a significator for husband. But again, be careful with who you meet, all right? ask around because everything in the beginning is wonderful, but this person might turn out to be a double. If your Saturn is conjunct Algol, then this talks also about your parents, right? The fourth house, 10th house, but especially your father, because to me, Saturn is the father. Again, if it's in the fourth house, as an example, your Saturn is in the fourth house, and you have a parent that's very ill, it can bring the end of life for that parent. So it's a new moon, but it's a new beginning for that parent in a better world. All right. So I'm sorry that this video is, a bit rough, a bit depressing, but you are alerted to the potentials of this new moon. I would not be around crowds. I would not be traveling for at least 2 weeks. In June, don't go to Europe because Europe is not. I think that come that Mars square Pluto, the war will start again, bottom line. So if you have any plans that you already booked a vacation, that cruise in the Mediterranean or to go overseas, make sure you get travel insurance so at least you can get refunded if you have to evacuate real quick. That money won't be a problem, let's put it that way. So, all right, guys, I'm sorry. I wish I had better news and I hope again that I'm completely wrong and nothing happens and everything is happy-go-lucky, but I don't think so. And I also think that when this attack happens again, the price of oil will skyrocket. So again, start growing your own food, especially Europe. You guys should stock up because there will be shortages of food, right? You guys are in the closer to the center of the potential catastrophe. So if something does happen that is detrimental, all right. So anyway, I will end with this, but I hope that some of you, please, if you play the lottery ticket and you win, put it down in the comments, okay? So let's end that on a happier note. All right, so thank you for watching. Please give the video a thumbs up if you at least understood the astrology behind it. And if you would like a natal chart reading with me, please send me an email to amaastrology@aol.com. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.